I figured it made the wrong assumption that, you know what? Okay, we know what this is. We know what polygyny is. We know the lifestyle it is. She's already talked to and helped other ladies in polygyny that had issues. So she'll understand. Long leg of peace. I'm Coach Nyla, one of the co-founders of Outstanding Personal Relationships, along with
Coach Fatimah, his initial wife.
and of course, Coach Nyla as a co-founder as well. And we're also authors of Let's Talk Polygyny Uncensored. Now, today we want to talk about something that we get asked quite a bit because we talk about having the difficult and challenging and tough conversations, right? And people say, how do I introduce polygyny, or, should I talk about it first or should I do it afterwards? And of course, we discuss best practices, a lot from our own experiences because we didn't have the resources, but also just learning best practices in relationships to begin with when you want to have a sound marital house.
Yeah.
So with that being said, today's topic is
polygyny. Why didn't we have the hard conversation?
Right. So why didn't we, again, we encourage men and women to initiate the discussion regarding polygyny, whether or not that may be something in the future or not, because there's also another assumption that goes, well, you should have talked about polygyny before marriage. Okay, a couple of things, and we let people know, we don't want you shoulding all over yourself. Okay. Should have did this, should have did that, could have did. No, it's not about should, no, should have. If it didn't happen, it didn't happen.
Right.
All right, and that could be for a plethora of reasons. One is being able to evolve. We evolve and we grow and we change and so on as we live. That's just part of life. I'm sure you have some ideas and concepts and thoughts and beliefs right now in your life that you don't even have from 5 years ago, let alone 15 years ago, right? Okay, that's called evolution. So let's not should all over ourselves with, should have did this, should have did that. Just some little advice. But so why didn't we talk about or have that conversation about polygyny or me possibly practicing it prior to me engaging in it? All right. So what are some of your thoughts on that?
For me, it could be a ton of stuff, but I'm going to narrow that thing down. For me, it was, number one, I didn't think it was my place or my responsibility to open up the conversation. Found out I was wrong. I don't think that's the best thing to do in the position of a wife. I think if you're thinking about it or you want to talk about it, you need to talk about it. You need to communicate that to your husband, because then you're extracting the assumptions that you're making prior to him even thinking about it, bringing it up, talking about it. You're removing assumption when you have the conversation. Number two is the most obvious is fear, because, we have this, I think it's distorted. I'm going to just say that. We have this, as wives, oftentimes we have this distorted view that if we don't bring it up, he's not thinking about it. So I won't bring it up. I won't give him ideas. The idea's there, queens. It's already there. Whether he practices polygyny or not, we can't sit here and act like our husbands have never thought of it because we don't want him to. That's the gag. We go, if I don't bring it up, he won't ever think about it. That's not true. That is absolutely wrong. And it's something that hurt the relationship, I believe, because the fear drove my decision, the not thinking it was my place because I'm not the man, I'm not the husband, I'm not the one who would be practicing it, then I shouldn't bring it up. And I felt as though that was something that he'd bring to me if he wanted to. And then I had to fast forward and go, okay, when did you let him know it was okay to bring it up, though? You want him to bring it to you, but you've not invited him to do so. So those are just two of the main reasons that I didn't want to talk about it.
Yeah, those are a couple of them. Now, again, the responsibility lies heavier, and I say it all the time, with the man anyway. I mean, it's your responsibility, period. So she doesn't have to bring it up or initiate it, though that's just a sign of maturity, regardless, in a marriage and in a friendship, because as part of that marriage, you have that friendship. You should be able to speak with your spouse openly and honestly about any and every topic, whether it's previous traumas or things that you heal from or things you may need healing from, or even therapy or counseling, whatever there may be, right? You should be able to have these conversations. Again, should. We want you should know love yourself. So now here's the other part. We had conversations about polygyny beforehand. It wasn't about me necessarily practicing polygyny, but we had conversations about a book called Polygamy in Islam and why that book in the house, or seeing some of my goals, or even hearing it on some lyrics and stuff I did back in the day doing some hip hop. So they were there, but it wasn't something in real life like I was pursuing really at any time. But the idea was there. My idea was mentioned on it. I had some stuff down with goals, but I noticed that friction I had with it, that's something that was uncomfortable. So I wanted to avoid that. There was no need to start something if I didn't have any intentions on practice. I'm like, nope, this is a sore spot for her, so no need to get into that with our history. So I didn't want any of the drama or any unnecessary stuff in our marriage to begin with for years. You know what I'm saying? So this is not, now of course I've been involved in, married in polygyny for over 11 years now. Okay. But prior to that time, it wasn't like, I want to marry another wife and I want to do this. That wasn't part of my game plan. It wasn't part of the strategy. I wanted to focus on other areas first. So for me, one of the reasons is that there was already friction to begin with. So when the time did come about, I figured and made the wrong assumption that, okay, we know what this is. We know what polygyny is. We know the lifestyle it is. She's already talked to and helped other ladies in polygyny that had issues. So she'll understand. She'll get with the program. She knows I'm a good dude anyway. So it's not like I'm out here doing all this crazy weird stuff. So I figured it'd be easier transition. If I'm gonna deal with heat, I'll just let her know after the fact. Not best practices. Right. Bad assumption. Not demonstrating the ability to handle things head on as I'm supposed to as a man. So accept accountability for that. But those were some of the reasons I didn't just, hey, you know what? Let's go ahead and have this discussion, blah, 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 and then deal with all the drama and emotions, all the fireworks, all that kind of stuff up front. Nah, it wasn't an open, place to go ahead and do that, and then I didn't want to deal with that. So that's coming, at least from my perspective. Go ahead.
I think also that's why we talk about personality types so often. Well, I know I do, because I learned through finding out that Coach Nyla is an INTJ and I'm an ENFP. The main issue in that relationship, which is supposed to be a very compatible relationship between the INTJ and the ENFP, that's supposed to be the match made in heaven. The weakness in the relationship is that one is waiting for the other one to be vulnerable first. And they wait and they wait and they wait and they wait, just like we did. So I learned that long after the fact. Had I known that beforehand, which is why I want to put emphasis on learning what your husband or your wife's or wives' personality type is, it matters, because then you can see why they operate the way that they do. And sometimes we think the way they operate is a diss toward us, shade, disrespectful. We think it's something divisive. No, that might just be the way that they know how to communicate or act within their day-to-day life. So I learned that he might be waiting on me to talk about it, not just I'm waiting on him. We're just two people sitting there waiting on the conversation. Now, we did have the conversation, but the purpose of this video is to let you all know why we did not have a serious conversation about polygyny. We gave little hints and little jokes and little underlying, truths of our experience. Or
give an example. What does that mean? What that look like?
So, like the book. So the book on the table. Why the book on the table? Book on the table because whoop-de-whoop, bye, conversation. That was one of those.
Or,
we get in and get out. Get in and get out.
The older sister which is younger than us now. Talking about
older. She got us beat by 20 years.
You know what I'm saying?
Got us beat.
I was like, well, if I was older, so what
I'd marry her.
Here are 3 ways outstanding personal relationships can help you.
Make sure you guys are following us on our social medias at Outstanding Personal Relationships on YouTube and Facebook, and on IG at Outstanding Relationships, and also Clubhouse under our names.
And make sure you go to outstandingpersonalrelationships.com and sign up for our email list. And there you will get updates on our new book, Let's Talk Polygyny Uncensored.
Absolutely. And last but not least, when it comes to coaching or counseling, if you want to work with us one-on-one or in group settings, make sure you're on that website and reach out to us, because we do have very limited spots and we usually have a wait list. So with that being said, GLC.
Make sure you are growing intentionally,
loving fearlessly,
and connecting on a higher level every single day. Assalamu alaikum. Peace.
Peace.